What's up? We're back. Ursa Furiosa, the final shape. Let's go. This thing can still carry Grandmaster Nightfalls, can still take your LFG team through a Grandmaster. You can get so many orbs for your team, so much super energy, so many overshields. It really is one of the best end-game builds there possibly could be. This has been one of my staple Grandmaster Nightfall builds since the beginning, really. And this is the update for the final shape. This build does not work in easy content. This build does not work in solo content. This build is for Grandmaster Nightfalls, for the hardest content in the game, and that's it. It's built around the Ursa Furiosa gauntlets. Ursine Guard, move faster while guarding with Sentinel Shield or the Unbreakable Shield. Damage blocked with either is converted to super energy. This specifically buffs Sentinel Shield and also the aspect Unbreakable. So with Sentinel Shield, you guard with your shield to create a defensive wall. Allies who shoot through the wall have increased weapon damage, 40% increased weapon damage, and guarding allies make the shield last longer. For every ally that you guard, you get 2 more seconds on your Sentinel Shield. So you have to make sure your teammates are behind the shield within the circle in order to guard them from damage. The more damage you guard them from, the more super energy you get back and the more orbs you create for your teammates. For the aspects, I really tried to make Unbreakable work, but honestly, consuming your grenade for an overshield is too expensive for me. The grenade does so much for this build that I didn't want to be spending it on an overshield when I could just spend a rally barricade and get an overshield for way longer. So I'm going with Bastion. Cast your super to grant overshield to nearby allies. Casting your barricade grants overshield to yourself and nearby allies and empowers it, enabling it to slowly regenerate the overshield of allies bunkering behind it and extend their overshield duration. This is super useful for your fire team. Makes the whole team way more tanky. You do need to have some awareness of where to put this down, where not to. Don't block your teammates' shots, but also protect them from bad stuff. I like to put this behind us or in walls or like halfway in a wall, something to where we're just getting the overshield effect from it and the reload speed from rally barricade. So it does take some playing with to get it always in the right spot at the right time. You can kind of use it as an oh crap, I need a shield button and pop your rally barricade and boom, you got a full overshield. Then for the other aspect, I toyed around with controlled demolition and just don't feel like the volatile effect is that effective for what I'm going for this. So decided on offensive bulwark. This is really for the grenade regeneration. While you have an overshield or inside Ward of Dawn, your grenade charges significantly faster. You have increased melee range and damage, and melee final blows restore a small portion of your overshield and extend its duration. You gain an additional shield throw while in Sentinel Shield. None of that really matters except your grenade charges significantly faster, and it is significant. And because of how heavy I'm leaning into grenades for this season, and because they can weaken, that's tipped the scales for me into using offensive bulwark and Bastion over controlled demolition or Unbreakable. The abilities, I'm going with rally barricade because of the shorter cooldown than towering barricade. Also, it increases your reload speed and stability and range of your weapons when you're behind it, and you can just take advantage of Bastion way more often. For the jump, I like strafe lift. For the melee, I like shield throw for the range, and you can make sure you get an overshield to proc offensive bulwark to get your grenade back faster. So in between rally barricade cooldowns, you can throw your shield, still get a little overshield, and you're getting your grenade back faster. For the grenade, Vortex Grenade, I highly recommend Vortex Grenade for this. I tried a bunch of Master Nightfalls with other grenades equipped and really do feel like Vortex Grenade is just way better than the rest. It lingers for so long, does a ton of damage, and just helps with the overall play loop because it lasts so long. And then the fragments, Echo of Starvation, picking up a Void Breach or an Overpower grants Devour. Echo of Persistence, void buffs applied to you, Overshield and Devour have increased duration. Echo of Undermining, your void grenades weaken targets. That's really important. Echo of Harvest, defeating weakened targets creates an Orb of Power and a Void Breach. So these all kind of work together. You throw your grenade, you weaken a target, you kill it. Echo of Harvest procs, you create an Orb of Power and a Void Breach. Then you pick up that Void Breach or Orb of Power and you get Devour. And then it lasts longer because of Echo of Persistence. And so to go along with the abilities, I recommend 100 resilience, 30% damage reduction, and a faster rally barricade cooldown. And then discipline to get that weakening grenade as much as possible. And then from there, I would go either recovery or strength. Either way, you do have Devour, so recovery is not super important, but there are times where you don't have Devour, and I wish that my recovery was higher. But I could just throw a shield and be fine with an overshield like that, so strength would be good too. And the reason that weakening is so strong with this build, because of a couple things in the artifact. Void Hegemony, while you have a Void or Prismatic subclass equipped, defeating weakened targets provides a small Void overshield. Now you're getting overshield from enemies that are touched by your grenade. So theoretically, you could have an overshield at all times and then get your grenade back significantly faster at all times because of offensive bulwark. And also with that, Expanding Abyss, Void sources deal increased damage to weakened targets. That's why we go with the Void heavy weapon with this build. And then Shield Crush. While you have an Overshield, your melee recharges faster and deals increased damage. I don't really care about the increased damage, but it helps. But just getting that back faster lets you spam it a little bit more. And then while you're Amplified Radiant, your grenade recharges faster and deals increased damage. And there's probably going to be somebody on your team making you Radiant, so your grenade will charge even faster. Then the other thing that's important is Elemental Siphon. Rapid final blows with a kinetic weapon or a weapon matching your equipped super. Create an elemental pickup that matches your equipped super, and that way you can proc Echo of Starvation even more often. You get Devour. Then for the mods on the build, going with Kinetic Siphon. If I was using a Void primary, I would probably go with a Void Siphon, but for the setup I have right now, I'm using Kinetic, a Heavy Ammo Finder, and a Radiant Light. Theoretically, you shouldn't need Radiant Light, but there is just a chance that you don't make an orb immediately when you prop your super, so this just guarantees that your teammates near you have an armor charge when you go into your super and deal the most damage they can. For the gloves, got Impact Induction, causing damage with a powered melee attack, reduces your grenade cooldown. Momentum Transfer, causing damage with a grenade, reduces your melee. Those go hand in hand. Firepower, your grenade final blows create orbs of power to make more orbs. And then on the chest, whichever reserves that your heavy is, that's what I like to run. And then whatever the threat is, I like to run 2 resistances and whatever that threat is. This week in the Master Nightfall, it was arc threat, so I went 2 arc resistance. Innervation, reduces grenade cooldown each time you pick up an orb of power. Insulation, reduce class ability cooldown each time you pick up an orb of power. And Void Weapon Surge, to make your Void weapons do 10% more damage. On the class item, Bomber, reduce grenade cooldown when using class ability. Distribution, reduces all ability cooldowns when using your class ability near targets. And Time Dilation, to make that Weapon Surge last just a little bit longer. Then for the weapons, this season I really love Outbreak Perfected for Grandmasters. If you don't have one of these already crafted with Rewind rounds, I highly suggest you go get that done. It is super strong. I'm going to be running this weapon probably in every Grandmaster that has barrier champions. If I'm going into a Grandmaster without barrier champions, that changes things. Then I only have to worry about Unstoppable and Overload. If that's the case, I'll probably run Patron of Lost Causes with Triple Tap and Kinetic Trimmers. This thing is a beast, one of my favorite weapons in the game right now. And then you could even throw on like a Lay Monarch to take care of Overload, or down here could throw on Thunderlord to take on Overload. In the energy slot, I really like Indebted Kindness for stunning Unstoppables and being able to take out a little bit tankier adds a little faster. Other weapons just that I like with this build in general are Arbalist, Revision 0, a Disorienting Grenade, the Call, possibly Riptide to take care of champions, and Wither Horde. In the energy slot, other weapons that could be useful are Graviton Lance for barrier, but I would probably pick Outbreak Perfected over it. A Void Scout Rifle like Vouchsafe. I really have no problem going double primary for Grandmasters. I think being able to stun champions is super important, and so if that means running double primary, then I'll run double primary. For the heavy weapon, I'm trying to stay with Void weapons, so I really like Hammerhead with Envious Assassin Killing Tally, or Retrofit Escapade with 4 times a charm and target lock, or Red Herring with Field Prep Lasting Impression. I really wish Faithkeeper was good, but it really just isn't with the precision frame. It doesn't do enough damage. Other options could be Edge Transit. I just typically don't run this very often just because I always end up blowing myself up. I don't know what it is with me and grenade launchers, but I'm terrible at them. Or you could run a Commemoration, or like I said, for Overload, you could throw on Thunderlord, and that's totally viable, tons of damage. Or if there's Tormentors, Sleeper Simulant does a ton of precision damage. Like I said, I am trying to take advantage of Expanding Abyss, where Void sources deal increased damage to weakened targets. So typically when I throw a grenade, I'll switch over to my heavy, Hammerhead, or whatever it is, and deal some damage while they're weakened because it does extra, and I'm boosting it with Void Weapon Surge, so it should do a ton of damage. So even though this nearly is 100% a support build, it does do a ton of damage with weapons and grenades when you need to. So yeah, that's the updated Ursa Furiosa build for Grandmaster Nightfalls in the final shape. Super excited for Tuesday and Grandmaster Nightfalls coming. Can't wait to take this in there. Hope this video helps you understand Ursa Furiosa Titan a little bit better and see the value of it. I know that it's fallen out of fashion over the years, but I really do think because of Well of Radiance being nerfed and because Prismatic Titan not being super easy to use, I think there will be a lot more people turning to Ursa Furiosa, Void Titan. If this video was at all helpful, please like it and subscribe to the channel. Thanks so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Peace.